Right. Hey.
お願いします。
お願いします。よっ。はい。なんHead side to side. はい。Eat the shoulders. Circles one way. There goes the other way. Hey. Arms forward. Arms back. Hey. On the side. Oh, the other side. Crossing one side. Change. Open close. Hey. Nice. Aquí. 反対。横。ベンチ。横。はい。き。こ。に、き。こ。3、き。こ。はい。あ、はい。change。お。い。 Side to side ski jumper. So remember, it's good for your balance and stability of your own foot. So starting on one side, depending how good or how stable, how ready you are, it can be a small jump just to kind of find balance and stability, or it can be a longer jump to challenge your landing a little bit more. Can be almost as little as almost being on the same spot if that's your condition, or you can make it a little bit longer, but it is going to challenge your ankle, knee, and hip stability. Okay, so side, do, ch, do, do, stand, do, chick, do, up, rock, pitch, hatch, do, do. Okay, now this time with a double landing, so it's going to go 1 and 2, then 1 and 2. So with a double landing, please. Hey, pitch, hit, stand, chick, go, rock, pitch, hatch, good, good. Okay, now this time with a landing followed by a squat. So I'm going to go pitch. On the other side, me. Okay, so just simple squat. Sometimes that one is an explosive squat where we're warming up. So just keep it as a simple squat. Okay, so pitch, knee, stand, three, go, rock, pitch, match, through, you. So, and this. Circles way. Circles the other way. Both ways, double. Sideways. Front and back. Front, back, front, back, front, back. Open your toes. So. 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 And hips. Good. And lowering. Oh, hips go. Knees going forward. And knees going out. Knees going forward. Knees going out. Knees going forward. Knees going out. Pivoting to one side. Well, pivot to the other side. Hey, toes up. Sorry, hips up. So, and your spine, shoulders, head. Hey. Hey. Side. Oh, the other side. Toes up. 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 Side goes up. The other side again, toes up, a little bit deeper. The other side, toes up, a little bit deeper. Hands in front. And change. And again. And change. Wait. Side. Opening legs. Elbows down. Sound salutations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hips back. Hips forward. This time hips back, but open your toes, toes pointing out, pushing your hips back. And forward again. One more time, toes out, pushing your hips back. Forward again. Hips up. Hips down. Hips up. Hips down. Hips up. Inchworm, the way backwards. Hands up. Hands down. Inchworm, the way forward. So, and push back. Wait, one side. And the other side. One side. The other side. One side. The other side. So, breathing in. Out inside your triangle. Breathing in. Breathing out inside the triangle. Breathing in. Out. Means. Standing up, please. Una kogi. Hidari hand no kamae, left foot in front. Oh, left foot in front. Hands in front. Hey. Hey. Ho. Hey. Ho. Hey. Ha. Hey. Ha. Hey. Ha. Hey. Ha. Hey. Hey. Ha. Hey. Hey. Ha. Hey. Ha. Hey. Ha. Hey. 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 Hey, ni hand mi lokamane, right foot in front, hands in front. Isa! 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 Isa. Go. Hey, Satan. Just a quick recap where we are studying a little bit in the dojo this month. We are we remember that next week, Irene and I will travel to Japan, and we will go to the All Japan Aikido demonstration that happens every year, and that we are very fortunate to be invited together with Moreno Shihan to be part of a very short demonstration, but it's a good opportunity, and we've been enjoying it for several years now. But we need to remember that when the demonstration happens in the Budokan in Tokyo, which is a beautiful building specifically dedicated for the demonstration and some tournaments of Budo, arts. When the Budo arts, as they are at the entrance, Aikido, Judo, Kendo, Karate Do, etc. So Japanese martial arts. But what I'm going is also at the entrance of the Budokan, together with the list of the arts that are associated with Budo, there is the charter, the Budo charter, or the objective of Budo. And it's on our website. It's the basis of the things that we talk. So it's just a few sentences, it's in there. But basically, in summary, it reminds us that Budo is a process of discipline for the development of the character of the individual, in order to support their society in which they live. So there is a very strong link between our capacity to develop our character and the participation, especially in Japanese martial arts in Budo. So, and again, that's not me saying it. That's the Budo Kan saying it in their own charter. It's always very nice to go to this place and be reminded of that, the importance of that activity. As I say in class, that happens really with any physical activity. If you go and if you have any activity, going to the gym, going to play soccer, going to play basketball, any physical activity eventually has a set of life skills, as we call them today, that eventually develop with that activity. You have to have the discipline to get there on time, and you need to have the organization of having your uniform ready, and you need to have your capacity to win and lose sometimes, and so on. So there's always this link with things that eventually we consider life skills that help us in other aspects of our life. So this whole conversation of character development and life skills and our training has been part of the elements that we've been discussing this month. Last week we started with saying, for example, one thing that we have as a basic idea in our training is the idea of sen no sen, which is, as we know, to anticipate or to prevent. And that sends also a message for us in our daily life, of how can we be present enough, with people, with situations, with events, that we can, in a way, read the place well enough that we could anticipate a negative outcome. Okay? So it's not about guessing the outcome, it's just being present enough with intention, that it helps us to be aware of the potential outcomes of something, and then we extended that to the idea of service. When we are actively reaching out and looking for the needs, ours, but also the needs of others, we are anticipating, and that's a good practice. It's a good practice of always being present, always being ahead, of something that is going to happen. And that we call that Zen no Zen in our practice, and takes different forms in our techniques, but it's something that is reminded in our daily life. This week, we've been talking about a very important technical element that we have, especially reminded by Moreno Sensei, which is the concept of the internal triangle. And as we know, when we sit in seiza especially, and we put our elbows connected to our knees, and we put our hands in front, then suddenly there is a triangle in front of us, but there is also a triangle inside of our legs. So it's almost like a diamond in the beginning. You put your hands in front, they touch fingers and things like that. So there's a triangle here and a triangle here. So the importance of that shape is that we need to remember that all our techniques, regardless which technique is, it should always finish inside this shape, right? So anything that is outside of this shape is outside of our control. Anything that is inside of this shape is within our control. And we've been talking just very quickly about that in our life, that in traditional life skills training, that's called the dichotomy of control. That every situation, no matter what it is, only has two types of things that we can control and things that we cannot control. And that a good way of spending our energy and our attention and our worries, which is limited, is on the things that we can control. Because by definition, everything that is outside here, we cannot really control it. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, doesn't mean that it's not difficult, doesn't mean that it doesn't bother us. All of those things are true, but there is no point of me trying to apply a technique here, because it's outside of my control. My technique should be here, inside of my internal triangle. So when you make the shape and when you practice your techniques, first of all, finish them always inside your triangle. And in life, try to remember that we also have an internal triangle where there are certain things that we can control and there are certain things that we cannot control. And we should not really be too preoccupied with those, because they take too much energy out of us. So just very quickly, with your internal triangle, as I say in the beginning, looks more like a diamond because it's a triangle is in front here and then it's one here. So at least things should be inside of this shape. Better techniques, when you shorten it, things should be inside of this internal triangle inside your legs. And when our technique gets better, we should really be aiming to the point of the triangle, which is our own center. Okay, so that's the idea of the internal triangle. So that's the idea technically. So all our techniques finish here. And the idea in life skills is to remember what can we control and what can we not control. Okay, so anyway, so this is the themes that hopefully, extend to our daily life. So in terms of our internal triangle, the exercise is very simple in the beginning. Let's practice just an iriminage. So where we, for example, sweep, and up and enter. So that's the other thing that we've been doing this week a lot. We've been working a lot with using our lower sweep exercise. So technically, so from Shinzo Karai up to my partner's head, and then down, heart. Okay, making a big circle and finishing inside. Okay, one more time, the other side, Shinzo Karai, out on the level of my partner's face, heart down, big circle, inside. Okay, and now be careful that, this is sometimes first of all, it's good if your hand is on this side of your leg as opposed to on that side of your leg. So that's a good thing. But now make sure that, especially when practicing solo, that you remember to bring your hand as close to your center of gravity as possible, not necessarily down to the ground, but as close to the center of gravity as possible. Okay, so Shinzo Karai, sitting down, big circle, inside. Shinzo Karai, sitting down, big circle, inside. Okay, we were talking yesterday that sometimes, depending on how we're practicing with our partner, some technique we have to let my partner a little bit of the space or a lot of the space so my partner can take ukemi, either because the technique is complicated to receive or because my partner is very new and is just getting to know the idea. The more we close our circle of energy all the way to our center of gravity, that is the technique gets more and more and more difficult. That's why it's very difficult for many techniques to be fully completed at the level of the center of gravity, because it closes all the space. Okay, that's why sometimes we kind of give a little bit of space, even if it's inside of our triangle, it's not fully closed. But your triangle fully closes when your hand touches your own center of gravity. Okay, so Shinzo Karai, sweeping, up, closing. Shinzo Karai, sweeping, up, close. Shinzo Karai, sweeping, up, close. Shinzo Karai, sweeping, up, close. Okay. So that's just that hand. If we were doing this a bit more Iriminage-esque, okay, you'll have to be able to control the spine with our lower back. So Shinzo Karai, sweep, control the spine with the hand that was out, and then inside. Shinzo Karai, sweep, control the spine, up, means up. Shinzo Karai, sweep, control the spine, inside. Shinzo Karai, sweep, control the spine, inside. Okay, so so on the week we did a lot of work with that lower sweeping. Remember the process of that lower sweeping is useful in multiple things. Starts with Katatedori, and then we sweep. That's the basis of it. Then she skis on the same side. We use the same thing, and then she can maigeri on the same side. We use the same movement. So that sweeping motion is very important. It's one of the many motions we have, but it's very versatile in terms of use. So we went from katatedori to skis to some maikeris that we practice during the week. So, but the important thing was it was always the same sweeping motion. So if now you imagine the ski instead of katatedori ski, but you do the same sweep. Now both hands up and inside for kokunage. You don't need the second hand, but at the moment it's a good gesture to use both hands, and remember to go both hands inside. So here you sweep both hands and inside. Okay, so kokunage. Reach, knee, stand, chi, go, rub, teach, match, you, you. Okay, they're all inside. They're all inside. Okay, so we're using just our sweeping of our hand and body inside. Okay, so this time it's going to be the same as the one we did before, Iriminage, but with a ski. Sweep, spine, and okay, so attacking with a ski, sweeping, controlling the spine, and okay. So Iriminage, please, with ski. Each. Me, and so she go rock switch hatch you you okay. So that eventually, we have to practice it enough and enough, and develops a couple of really important habits in terms of the Iriminage. One is the habit of controlling the spine, and the second is the habit of always finishing inside. As I say, even with Iriminage, we have to be careful because we cannot 100% finish fully inside because the partner needs a little bit of space to take ukemi. So the important thing, so that's why the Iriminage finishes inside, but somewhere in the process, we allow slow the movement a little bit enough so the uke manages to take their uke. Okay, so inside, inside, inside. There was one technique that we did during the week with the tanto. Okay, well, we can practice it as if it was just like a normal which one? What do you know? Yeah, without it, which was a spin. Okay, you sweep, we control with both hands, and then we cut down. Okay, so it was sweep, control with both hands, and control. Now, that technique we eventually converted it into a throw or into a full pin. But the important thing is it's a very pure technique because the arms, the only thing that they're doing is controlling your partner's arm. Okay, and then the rest is the motion of the body. And the motion of the body is going again inside your internal triangle. It's not pushing outside of the triangle, it's coming down and going in. So the technique looks like sweep, grab, step, and control down. Inside, sweep, grab, step, sweep, grab, step, sweep, grab. There's a little pivot in there to give you enough space, and we're going to do it by ourselves. Slide in, pivot, and step. Okay, I'm going to slide in, pivot, and stepping in. Okay, remember the important thing was to fully control, your partner's arm, not giving any space because there was a tanto here. The arm was fully grabbed, even if you had to grab your own clothes, and just now use your Tai Sabaki to control towards your internal. Okay, let's practice that basic katame waza. Okay, we're going to slide and sweep. We're going to pivot and grab our own keikogi. We're going to step forward and pivot and hinge. Use our Tai Sabaki going inside of our turn. Okay, one more time. We're going to sweep. We're going to pivot. We're going to grab. We're going to step forward. And we're going to sweep, pivot, grab, forward, hinge. Sweep, pivot, grab, forward, hinge. Sweep, pivot, grab, forward. Sweep, pivot, grab, forward. Sweep, pivot, grab, step forward, hinge. Sweep, pivot, grab, step forward, hinge. A couple more. Sweep, pivot, grab, step forward. One more. Sweep, pivot, grab, step forward, and okay. So anyway, so that technique we did it a few times with the tanto and empty-handed, and it's a beautiful technique because it's very simple in essence. It's very pure that in a sense that it doesn't require body movement or arm movement a lot. It reminds us of the importance of being nice and tucked together. Okay, and then using our Tai Sabaki, okay, our spine, to go again inside of our internal triangle. Even if we did it as a kopinage, which the only thing with the kokinage was, we grab, we pivot, and then we push with the energy going out, this is, for example, one of those things where push out, you let go, but you still finish inside, okay? Because you are projecting your partner to give them a little bit of ukemi, and then they can do a little bit of a front roll, but the technique still goes inside, okay? So, we did inage, yeah, we did kokunage, we did so pratama nage, okay, control, nage. Another one we did yesterday was kote gaeshi. But this kote gaeshi, sometimes we emphasize the step in, going deep, and going in a really big kote gaeshi. Yesterday, we emphasize, the cutting with the free hand, up, going down, and then going in. In that moment of going down, the partner didn't take a big ukemi, a big breathful, because it took a yoko ukemi, but the energy was going down and then eventually came in. We had to, in order to protect the partner, we had to let her go before bringing the hand inside. Otherwise, it will be too difficult, can be difficult to ukemi. Okay? So, a couple of things with kote gaeshi. Sweep. The other hand doesn't grab. The other hand cuts. Okay? Sweep. The other hand doesn't grab. The other hand cuts. Step in, down, and then in to your center of gravity, quite violently. Okay? So down, and then in. Down, and then in. Down, and then in. You want to be careful with that. Okay? So please, let's try kote gaeshi. Okay? So sweep. Second hand cuts, up, down, and in. Okay. Sweep. Second hand cuts, down, and in. So, sweep. Second hand cuts, down, and in. So, sweeps. Cuts, down, in. Sweeps, cuts, down, in. Sweep, cuts, down, in. Sweeps, cuts, down, in. So, sweeps, cuts, down, in. Okay. Continue by yourself. Maybe you didn't practice this one yesterday. It was online, so continue there. Okay. So, down, and in. Yeah, not down, in. Down and in. Your hand is going to finish here. Your hand is not going to finish there. You finish inside. Up, down, up. Where does the hand finish? Stop. Well, off. Where's the hand finishes? Where does the hand finish? Yeah, well, he wasn't there. So, you grab your own belt. When you finish the technique, you have to finish inside. Inside means here. Like that's what inside means. Inside, that's one inside. So remember, that's why it's important to understand the internal triangle properly. Okay? So that is one inside at the level of my foot. So in front of my body, at the level of my foot. That's one inside. Now, at the level of in front of my body, in the middle of my feet is another inside. So inside at the level of my foot, inside at in the middle of my feet. So those are two insides, right? So those two represent basically the outside triangle and the inside triangle. So outside triangle, inside triangle. So that's at the level of my foot is one inside of my legs is another inside. But then we said that there are three elements. outside triangle, and inside the tip of your triangle, which is on your center of gravity. That literally what it is. That is literally on in here. So that's why all these techniques, you know, finish there. So finish there. And that's what I'm saying is not all techniques can be done in there. Okay. If I practice, for example, Tokinage, okay, with Elena, this way, she skis. Okay, and you go 1, 2, and then I go boom. Okay, that's fine. Not so much of a problem. I can finish completely here. Okay, but I managed to finish completely my shape. That's fine. Okay, but if I practice, let's say Idiminage, okay, on the same side, here, up, I let her go a little bit before I close completely the space. Okay, I still finish here, but I let her go a little bit. And what we're doing at the moment with Kote Gaeshi is something similar. We enter, we go up here, we go down, boom. And then I let her go before, but I finish with my hand where? Here, inside, in grabbing my own belt. Okay, as opposed to here, down, and going, and then my hand somewhere floating here. Now, at the moment the hand goes down, my partner takes to get me, and then I close it. That eventually, when we practice properly, means so inside. Now, if we were practicing a dynamic kotegaeshi, so boom, and we know that we have to finish it. Kotegaeshi with good ukemi is generous enough to be able to finish inside, okay, and okay, being able to receive more or less okay. But in this case, okay, this, so we're practicing. So you're going down with your partner. You let the partner go, but then you finish inside. And by inside, I mean grabbing your own belt. Okay. Which technically, remember, this is the first thing that the kids learn when they come to the dojo. The first thing the kids learn is to put their belt. And the first thing that they learn about the belt, okay, is point to your belly button. They all day point to their belly button. And they say, all right, the belt goes slightly below your belly button. That's what we call the hara, or that's what we call the 1 point or the center. It's not the belly button, it's a few inches below the belly button. So the very first thing that the kids learn is, okay, let's put your belt. Okay, can you point to where's your belly button? Here. Okay, your belt goes a little bit below. Okay, so that's where the belt sits. So now when we do this exercise and we finish, we're basically coming exactly to the same point, which is below the belly button, which is our belt, which is our hara, is our center point. Boom, that's where we finish. Okay, so please try it again. Okay, finish inside. Couple minutes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Running also. Yes, I get that. There. Let's do that. So, 2 more. Two more. Ooh, good. I'll grab. One more. Oh, just okay. So, all right, let's finish up. Okay. Anyway, so sen no sen is an essential element of our practice. The internal triangle is an essential element of our practice. Though so far, those 2 things are non-negotiables. Okay, so sen no sen is non-negotiable. Internal triangle is non-negotiable. Okay, and for this week, okay, remember every situation has 2 types of things that you can control, which is what our energy and our worries and our action must be focused on, and things that we cannot control, which is where not much point of spending too much time there. Okay? So, Right. Hey.
どうもありがとうご
あり
ざいます。
がとうございました。Thank you.